Hello, and a warm welcome back to the TNC podcast. This has been a joyous podcast to record for the last few months. That ends there. Norwich City have just been defeated by 6-2 away at Plymouth Argyle. It's Jack Reeve, it's Chris Reeve back for your weekly therapy session. Good to see you.
Can I just start, Jack? Right, pick yours up. Pick your hat up. Pick your hat up. Pick your hat up. Yeah? Forget it. Forget it.
Oh, is the dream over?
It's over. Forget it.
Really?
Yeah. We ain't going up playing like that. It's a disgrace.
Oh, God. I thought we were going to ease ourselves in.
No. It is a disgrace.
Last week on the podcast, we said if we beat Leicester and we beat Plymouth, the hats are going, surely your opinion can't change on us in the space of 2 games.
It's not the Leicester performance. That pummeling by Plymouth, the annihilation by Argyle.
That was good.
Mate, oh my God.
Look, we've got a lot to discuss on today's show. We've got, we have to look ahead as well as behind. Let's start on a positive.
Yes.
And it's not Adam Idah. We are auctioning a Yusuf Safri signed, match-worn Norwich City shirt for the Big C.
Yes, we are.
We'll link it in the description below.
Yeah, he's a proper the streets will never forget type player, isn't he, for Norwich City? So yes, all funds raised will be going to Big C, obviously helping people locally affected by cancer. Yeah. So far, the bidding is at £185. Really? Yeah, so already a great amount raised. But just to highlight this shirt, it's a match-worn Yusuf Safri shirt. Like, You've got his actual sweat on it. Okay. Oh no, it's signed as well. Yeah. A signed, sweaty Safri shirt,
and it's got the lovely Coca-Cola sleeve badges, which just remind me of like early sort of or mid 2000s.
I would argue that this actually should be in the Norwich City trophy cabinet. Like this is Norwich City heritage.
It really is.
So look, you can get your hands on it if you've got more than 185 quid and you fancy that bit of Norwich City history. Donate and raise lots of money for the Big C.
Well, we could have maybe longed that positive out because on my agenda, Chris, we don't have too much more. We're going to be discussing 2 defeats, Leicester and Plymouth. Probably more Plymouth, sadly. We're going to be looking ahead to, we've got 2 games this week, Fulham and Birmingham. Sometimes they say, don't they, the best way to get over a defeat is just to keep playing as many football matches, although I'm slightly scared for both. And then we will be getting on to the Twitter questions, and there are a lot, and the mood isn't great.
Put it this way, on the Twitter questions this week, and for you guys that follow us on Talk Norwich City, you would have seen I put rants. It's normally statements, questions, rants and raves, deleted raves. Not happening this week. I'm just not allowing it. I'm not allowing it, right? So no one can call us happy clappers, that's for sure. But the rants I've capped to 3 per person because I had a funny feeling that we were going to get overwhelmed, and sadly that is the case, Jack. Jack,
oh boy,
that is the most goals we've conceded at this level since 1996.
Really?
I was 3 years old.
I wasn't born.
It was against Port Vale.
What's worse, 6 against Port Vale or Plymouth?
Plymouth in the circumstances.
Yeah. Let's take ourselves a few days further back. It's Wednesday night. It's a soggy Wednesday evening in Carrow Road. We're up against Leicester.
Yeah. And I'm feeling good.
And I'm feeling fairly good. And I must say, I was feeling good until I saw not only the Leicester lineup, but the Leicester bench, which was just phenomenal. Okay. And I must say, caveating all of this, I think Leicester have been the standout side that I've seen this season.
Yeah.
Norwich City lose the game 2-0. It was a brilliant save to deny Shane Duffy. Kenny McLean hit the crossbar. Yeah. I came away from that evening, despite being very soggy and Norwich City losing, I felt good.
We certainly weren't disheartened, were we?
I thought Norwich had put in a decent performance here. I saw glimpses from Hwang that got me slightly giddy. I saw enough to go, okay,
did you?
Sort of. Might have been the beer. I've seen enough to go to Plymouth and expect 3 points.
Yeah.
I saw the starting 11 for the game against Plymouth and thought, okay, I'm relatively pleased. I thought 2 up front was quite bold. Yeah. Idah and Hwang.
No, good, go and get it.
Okay, like Wagner means business. We're going to Plymouth against the side. I don't think they've won in 5. slightly up against it. Let's go and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
What happened next was nothing short of an absolute car crash. I mean, where do we start? Because my match review on Saturday, I'd watched the game on a fully legal stream, and I was just shell shocked.
Yeah, I was as well.
I couldn't believe what I'd seen.
The thing, obviously there's been a lot of reaction and a lot of justified emotional reaction to that result. It was a horror show, a car crash, all of those words and phrases, completely fair and accurate. And by the way, I want to start by saying, and I know it's not a lot because a lot of people say, well, you should have done it on the pitch. But I do want to say big up to Kenny McLean for his post-match interview after Plymouth, for owning it, for understanding, obviously without losing the money, understanding how the fans feel, looked genuinely distraught. And I'm pleased that hurts.
I saw a tweet that said it's very Russ Martin away at Brighton 2016.
Yeah, it is, isn't
I thought it's so true.
But no, fair play to Kenny for...
I couldn't believe how
Kenny for fronting up.
He was, actually.
But I think the thing that we've seen bandied about is, okay, was it a blip? Was it a coincidence? Was it a one-off? Was this coming? Or was it just one of those bad days at the office? And honestly, Jack, if I take off my normally positive, I want to assume good, right? That, I feel like football without hope is pointless. Football without hope, you may as well not turn up, right? Like, what are you doing to yourself? If you're not going to hope and believe that your team's going to win, what's the point, right? And I saw what happened, and I was just... and I must admit, I think it's been coming. I don't think a result of that magnitude has been coming, but I posted this on my X account after the day after the game, saying, if you look at, don't get me wrong, Rotherham did score a very good goal against us, to be fair, postage stamp finish, but look at how Leicester beat us. Look at basically all the areas that Plymouth beat us in, and I think we've been found out, Jack. I think Norwich City have been found out, and it's sad that we have. But what's become very clear is that teams are getting the ball into the most dangerous space of the pitch within, if it's not one, it's only 2 passes. We haven't got the pace at the back to keep up with a pacey forward. And if it's a pacey and a big lump of a forward, like most championship teams have, currently we're struggling. And it's because we're going man for man. And I must admit, Jack, I was so bloody baffled by the huge drop-off from the Leicester game. I went out and I spoke to people within the game because I was like, I'm angry, I'm confused. How has this happened? And I spoke to someone within the game, and I won't name him because it's unfair, but he'd said to me, Chris, this has been coming, and this is how teams will beat Norwich this season. I was like... And he sent me clips and screenshots of all of the games. I thought, bloody hell, you're right. It's just a huge gape in our team for any team to expose.
But can Norwich City adapt?
Well, I think we have to. And this is where David Wagner is now back under pressure again. Because 3 teams have sussed your team out easily, comfortably. And I don't, it's very easy for... us to slag off I love to slag off the opposition, right? Because I love Norwich City, not because I necessarily hate them. I just love Norwich City. But Plymouth are a really good team at home. They're a very good, well-drilled team at home. But what they did, it wasn't particularly special. They hit us on the counter. They did all the basics right. They kept their passing tight, and critically, none of this bloody XG field tilt bollocks, yeah? They stuck the ball in the back of the bloody net, right? And I worry. I am seriously worried. And what I'm more worried about, Jack, weirdly, actually no, I'm not more worried about it, but what I'm really fearful of going to this Birmingham game, forget Fulham in the Cup.
Wow, are you anti-Cup?
I'm not anti-Cup.
It sounds like you're anti-Cup.
I'm not anti-Cup. I'm just saying forget this, right?
You've seen the light.
The fans will care when we win our next league game,
yes,
right? Not if we win away. That will be great to help a little bit. As I said previously, it will be a giggle. But I'm very worried about the mood of the Norwich City fans. An absolute annihilation. away at Argyle, and you saw the way that the fans responded to that, and it really highlighted the fragility of not just the team on the pitch, everything going on behind the scenes, but also the supporters as well. All it takes is, I genuinely think, Jack, and I don't think it's harsh me saying this, I think that result has completely almost invalidated the start to the season we've had. I'd go as strong as that. You're building momentum, you're building trust. And I want to say a big up to Connor Southwell, as you like to call him. Big up to Connor Southwell, and go and watch his review after the game. I thought everything he said was superb. And he really just made his points very clear. So if you're not bothered to listen to our nonsense, go and listen to him and how
watch this first, though.
How he summarised it was very, very good. So yeah, I think it's a big worry, mate. I think it's a worry. It just shows how fragile this situation is.
I like that you've raised the word fragility, because I'm still really mixed about what I think about this game, because I'm really hoping it was a one-off. I just can't see, particularly defensively, how, it was an unchanged back line. You knew this has been good this season. I think Gibson and Duffy have been good. Maybe all right in terms of teams have learned how to play against them. The fear was always, can they handle it on the floor? They've been good when they've had to win aerial duels. And I think Jack Stacey's been one of the standout performers in the league so far this season. They were all shocking at the weekend.
Yeah.
My biggest concern was at 2-0, 45 minutes on the clock, you're going, well, this is far from ideal.
Yeah.
But
let's just get in at half time.
But you're still in it at 2-0.
Yeah, you are.
And the clock has hit 45 minutes. You've got a few minutes added time. See it out.
Yeah.
In the next 4 minutes, that was the biggest concern. 2 more Plymouth goals. A complete just calamity of football. Yeah. And that, to me, was like, how are we so mentally all over the shop? Because the argument last season, Chris, was, well, they're young and we're bedding in youngsters.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
You've got that excuse. This season...
there's no excuse.
This season, you've got a central defensive partnership of Duffy and Gibson.
Yeah.
Played hundreds of championship games.
Yeah.
You've got a midfield that has Kenny McLean in it,
Yeah.
who we're raving about as being this leader. You've got 2 wing-backs who've played a lot of championship football. Jack Stacey has tasted promotion. And yet this has still been allowed to happen. And someone noted on Twitter, after I was trying to put somewhat of a positive spin on it after what I'd seen, and someone said, Jack, look back to last season when Wagner first came in. A brilliant win away at Coventry.
Yes.
I think it was 4-2 or something.
I know where you're going
and
already.
Preston, I think we'd beat 4-0 or 4-1 or something away from home. And at that point, you go, wow, Norwich have found something. We're great going forwards. This is exciting. And then we fell off a cliff. And that's my concern, is I don't know why, and I still can't put my finger on it, why we're seemingly so fragile mentally. That's my concern.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know whether I would pin it on mentality. I don't know. I think I might have lost my mind from this Plymouth loss, Jack. I just think, right, you look at the way that we lost 2-0 to Leicester, but we looked in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple of chances, and that game could have. I know, we didn't, but it could have changed. And I know we didn't turn up to Plymouth, and I know we didn't turn up to Rotherham, but I feel like the mentality at the start of the season has been good. It has been good, and so the drop off is absolutely astronomical. It's now 3 losses in 4 games. And do you know what? I'm not having the injuries bollocks. I'm not having it. And to be fair, David said it after his post-match, and I completely disagree with him. He can't use it as an excuse.
I think there is...
Sargent stretches the back line of the opposition.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
Good. He does bring physicality. Good. Barnesy, leader, drags people up. I've said it in the last podcast, he's so important to this team. But they're 2 attackers. There's no fucking excuses for what we saw, Jack.
No, it's not.
It's amateur hour stuff.
I think it has a part to play. I don't think it's an excuse, and I think actually Adam Idah's come in and done an okay job, and we'll get onto him shortly. I think it changes the way we play, missing both Barnes and Sargent.
Yeah.
I think it is a huge loss.
But it doesn't stop you from doing the basics, Jack. I mean, oh my God, like I've made a note of I watched it, but I've put myself through it like Chinese torture for all of the prep for this. And it's all like none of them were great goals.
No.
And I just want to caveat this by saying I respect Plymouth, where they've come from, what they've done, how they run as a football club.
Great recruitment.
Their fans, great recruitment. But, and it's almost a compliment to Plymouth, like it was just so easy. None of them were outstanding goals. It was all amateur hour defending from Norwich City, right? The first goal, we just completely switched off. It was slow and lethargic. Yeah. The second goal from a free kick, we were set up all wrong, in my opinion anyway, which is just fucking basic. You set up right on a free kick and we failed to do that. Head loss. The third goal, Duffy's the last man back. He does well to collect the ball, but he doesn't lump it into Rosette. He sort of just, I don't know what he does. He just doesn't clear it. I'm like,
complacency.
Mate, what are you doing? And then the fourth goal is, again, another 3-on-3 situation where we've left that gap in that attacking space for the opposition to get to. The fifth goal, the wing-backs are high up the pitch and haven't tracked back, so we're stretched out of position. And there's, I mean, the fifth and sixth is the same. And I need to say as well, just to be fair as well, Angus will be very disappointed at a couple of those goals because he should have done better as well. Yeah, hurts me to say it, but it's true. But overall, I would say we invited them on, and it was all just really standard, easy stuff for Plymouth, wasn't it?
I think I did enjoy that's the wrong word. I appreciated Kenny McLean's honesty post-match.
Yeah.
It did concern me because the way I really wanted to think in my head that this was an anomaly and this was a one-off, the way he spoke, it hit me like he thought that this was going to happen at some point. And I think he was asked something along the lines of like, can you adapt? Like, do Norwich City need to now adapt? And he said, yes, we're certainly going to try that, or something along those lines. And I think that in the back of his mind, he knew that this was coming at some point.
I don't know if I'd go that far, and I would defend Kenny, actually. I think it's incredibly difficult to do post-match, especially as a player, actually. Especially when you've had a poor performance, which I'm sure he would agree with. But I actually felt that he collected his words very well. He apologised to the fans. He said all the right things, actually. I think it's very hard to summarise how you're feeling in that moment, because really what he probably wanted to say is, mate, leave me alone. I need to get in here because this is horrific. I'm sorry to the fans, and I promise you we'll try and put it right next week. But obviously he's got to collate answers, hasn't he? So I wouldn't look into it that much, Jack.
Okay.
But what I would say is, I think we went into Rotherham complacent.
Yeah.
I'd go as strong as that. We then motivate ourselves for the Leicester game because we're live on Sky, biggest game of the season, and we put in a pretty decent performance.
We beat Stoke in between.
And then, we did. But again, if I'm honest, we scraped past them, didn't we, Jack? And actually, I've been made to feel like I actually I've doubted myself, because I thought, what a great ground out 1-0 win.
That's what I thought.
I'm now thinking Stoke couldn't thread a pass together all fucking game. They were completely useless in midfield, and they probably made it really easy for us. And I'm sorry that's just how I feel at the moment. That's just how I feel at the moment.
Let's forget about Fulham. I think it's a nice opportunity for the likes of Hwang, hopefully signs to come in.
Yeah.
Let's just see how that goes.
But Adam Idah, are we going to talk about him?
I was about to say Adam Idah. Couple of goals, that takes him up to 4 for the season. I think he's second top scorer in the division, as well as at Norwich City. Pretty remarkable considering.
Is he in the division? I didn't know that.
So.
Oh, right, okay.
I think he scored 4, something like that.
Okay.
He's well up there. Considering he hasn't started a lot of the games, he's clearly a confidence player, isn't he, Adam Idah?
Yes.
And this is his chance. And I said it in my video. I said he's actually got to be really thankful that he's had this many chances, because at another team you get one chance, and if you don't take it, you're gone.
Yeah, of course.
And that's not the case with Adam. I think, look, is he as good as Josh Sargent? No. Is he as good as Ashley Barnes? No. But he can score goals in the Championship, and he has proven that. I think he scored something like 9 goals for Norwich City now in the Championship, something like that, and he's only started, I think, 14 games. So the stats kind of skew it slightly, because it says he's played something like 40 Championship games.
But
he hasn't started too many.
Yes.
I think for Adam to get a couple of goals will do him the world of good. And I don't like it when people are kind of going, well, the pressure was off. Plymouth weren't playing it, properly because they were 4-0 up at the time. Actually, let's just celebrate that Adam scored a couple of goals, and let's hope that continues going into Birmingham this weekend, because now that is suddenly a really big game.
I would agree. I actually would disagree with you. Sorry to tease you there. I would disagree with you. I do think it was easier for Adam to score those goals in the circumstances.
But you can still celebrate him, scoring a couple.
And this really boiled my piss over that Plymouth game. Yeah, you've said it yourself, right, Jack? Adam's been given a chance now. He's going to get a long run in this team. Let's allow him to take his chance, because at the moment, all of the hate and personal comments and abuse of Adam, that's not going to do him any good. I'm so pleased that Adam Idah isn't on social media now, because some of the comments are just absolutely, it's mind-blowing, okay? It's within Norwich City's best interests for Norwich City supporters to support Adam Idah more than ever before, not abuse him, okay? Now, perhaps where I rubbed people up the wrong way during the Plymouth game is I posted saying, well done, Adam. Great to see him score a couple of goals. That will do him the world of good in terms of his confidence, right? He then goes one behind Johnny Rowe. And all of the comments were, well, it doesn't matter, Chris, because we're losing, we're shit, we're rubbish. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, let's praise Adam. Let's pray, come on. Because in a game where it's tighter, he's done his job. He's done his job, and fair play to Adam for doing his job, because none of those other players did their jobs properly against Plymouth. And I'm seeing even like Forshaw, right? I think Forshaw came on and looked all right, but again, he made a couple of misplaced passes, and he's escaping criticism. I'm like, Adam Idah is doing his job. Please allow him to take his chance. Please try and support him. And anyone can pick and choose, including us, and we're guilty of that. I'm guilty of it with Hernandez, right? We pick and choose stats to highlight things, right? Like, that's just what stats do. I mean, for example, the overriding stat, the one that blows my mind against Plymouth, we had over 60% possession. We lost 6-2. Okay? So with Adam Idah, yes, what is it now? 10 goals in God knows how many games, right? But the amount of minutes he's played and the amount of starts he's had is barely anything. He didn't get his loan, which is negligence on behalf of Norwich City Football Club, might I add, and I need to stick that in, because it's true. That's not Adam's fault. His 5-year contract, that's not Adam's fault either. Yes, it adds pressure, but that's not on Adam. Please support him, guys. I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying he should start every game for Norwich City Football Club. I'm not saying he's better than Josh Sargent. But come on, we're better than this.
And equally, he's our only option at the moment. It's not his choice that he's, been thrown in the deep end.
And he's scoring goals. If Adam, I will be the first to... I promise you, I'm saying this to the camera now, I promise you, if Adam has 2 games where he doesn't score, I'm going to be on his back, because this is his chance and he needs to take it. But at the moment, he's scoring goals.
The one thing I kind of want to bounce off you, Chris, there was a caller on Canary Call at the weekend. I think his name was Peter, proper Norfolk boy. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And he was saying, let's just all calm down a bit, right? We expected to come into this season and finish mid-table. At the moment, we're around mid-table. We've won a couple of games convincingly. We've edged a couple. We've lost by a few fine margins, and we've been pumped.
Yeah.
Probably we're in the exact position we expected us to be. And it's because we started so well that this game is so shocking. Now, I'm certainly not saying if you concede 6 to Plymouth, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But I just think, and maybe there might be more proof over the next couple of games that actually we are a really poor side.
Yeah.
But at this moment, I'm trying to say to myself, this was a complete one-off. We need to calm down. We've proven we can put it up against the best teams in the division.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that Leicester game where we all came out going, that was great. We put it up against them. That was 3-4 days from Plymouth.
Yeah,
and now we're saying, well, we're going to be in a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
Context here, I think, is really important. And I genuinely think from what I've seen this season, we are a better team than I expected us to be. Now, my expectations were through the floor, granted.
Yeah, they were.
And I thought our recruitment was average, and actually I've been quite impressed by all of them. I'm just really hoping that this is the game where we look back on come the end of the season and go, we needed that.
Yeah, look, and again, I posted some of this after the game. I was like, oh, I don't know, like, yeah, maybe this is the wake-up call that we needed, similar to the one that we had with Leeds at home. Do you remember when they absolutely schooled us? Yeah. It was 3-0, and we were nowhere near it that day, in my opinion, and then it transformed our season. Don't get me wrong, very different setup now. I totally get that. I disagree with Peter from Canary Call, because you can't tell people to calm down after a 6-2 loss.
No, you can provide context.
No. Don't calm down. Norwich City fans are totally entitled to be emotional, angry, and actually fucking furious. I'm still angry. I'm still seething right now. Yeah. I've not calmed down. I actually got in trouble with the missus over the weekend because I'm saying I'm so angry. I'm so angry at them. I cannot believe their standards have slipped that much. I can't believe it. And so I think they're entitled to feel emotional. And do you know what as well? Should I tell you what else is an absolute disgrace?
Go on.
£92 for coach and ticket to Plymouth.
I was really shocked actually when
they show up and they bend over and they let Plymouth give it to us.
I know that fuel costs have gone up, but the last time I probably got Club Canary was 20. I want to say 16. It's been a while, and I used to take it every week when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
And I remember the most expensive Club Canary I ever paid was Sunderland away, and it was £32.
Yeah.
It's something like 65 quid to go to Plymouth and Swansea on the 65. Someone's having it off there because fuel hasn't gone up that much. I mean, that is an absolute disgrace.
I just think, but you speak of context, Jack, and bringing up Peter from Canary Call again. Well, I
think his name was Peter.
Well, there's some context for you, Peter. I ain't calming down. 1,600 plus Norwich fans paid £92 to witness that shower of shit. It's unacceptable. And if those Norwich City players don't react and respond and put in a bloody excellent performance against Birmingham and critically win, they're letting the club down. They're seriously letting the club down. It's unacceptable. They do know that, though. What I would like to say and make clear, the players know just how bad that was at Plymouth. They know it. And so, I don't want people to think, I don't want people to say, for example, the players don't care, they haven't got the heart, they don't give a shit about the club, all this. That is nonsense. They had a bad day. They definitely know it. But I ain't accepting that shit and not winning against Birmingham on Saturday. We've got to beat them.
Let's lower the tone some more and look at Twitter.
So I'm so angry.
Let's start with the positive.
Yes, please.
Argyle live.
Is this actually a positive?
Well, it's from a Plymouth fan, so they're on cloud.
Hang on, you can't allow that.
I can.
Okay.
Travelling fans are an absolute credit. 5-0 down, still bouncing and making the best of the situation. Confusingly brilliant. Safe trip home.
Well, yeah, it speaks volumes. And one thing is for sure, and there will be people at the club watching and listening to this. If you dare blame the Norwich City fans this season, you are a disgrace, as well as the players that put in that performance against Plymouth, because they showed up and they supported to the degree that some supporters are angry that other supporters supported. That's how much we supported, right? And don't get me wrong, my personal opinion is I ain't clapping those players after that game. I do side with those people because it was a disgrace. But that's how much they were supporting, and I do agree with that Plymouth fan that they were excellent, and those 1,600 plus heroes deserve a lot of praise for going for that.
And just on a slight tangent, Chris, I've seen a lot of people, and I think it comes off the back of the current relegation zone in the Premier League at the moment. You've got Luton, Sheffield United and Burnley, the three promoted sides. And I've seen a lot of Norwich fans, and I get this opinion, going, like, what's the point anymore? Because say we do get promoted, and it's very unlikely. Say we do get promoted. We know what's happening. We're coming straight back down. And the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is ever growing. And I keep seeing people saying, what's the point? I don't care anymore. Actually, the point is nothing to do with what we see on the pitch. And that's never been the point of supporting Norwich City. The point of supporting any football team, but in particular Norwich City, is the community, the memories that you make. My best memories of supporting Norwich City have nothing to do with what I've seen on the pitch. They're the friends I've met, the away days and the road trips that we've had, the lifelong friendships I've gathered, the laughs in the pub, the meals we've had pre-match. I don't... Do
you remember that one at Bournemouth away where we wined and dined?
I mean, and they're the moments where I look and go, I'm never doing that if I don't support Norwich City. Yeah. So actually, the point is nothing to do with what's on the pitch. And yes, football is broken. And yes, we're operating in a very broken system. We can't do anything about that. That's the way it is.
On this point, what I would say is I'm really happy to see finally some of the big journalists standing up for Luton. For example, because Norwich City were lumbered with the same thing. They're not giving it a go, X, Y, Z. Well, hang on a minute. We chucked 60 quid. 60 quid. It felt like...
that was the first season.
To be honest with you, it felt like 60 quid because of how shit we were. We chucked 60 million quid at trying to stay up last season, and we still couldn't survive. And don't get me wrong, the recruitment was woeful. We haven't got the time to go into a podcast about why football's broken. No. But I agree with your point. I'm looking at those now and thinking, blooming heck.
My point was, if you're starting to question your support for Norwich City,
remember why you do it.
Remember why you go. Remember the people you've met. Remember the great times you've had. Because actually, that's what matters.
That was quite emotional from you.
Thank you.
Michael Bowers has sent in a question, friend of the channel, Sunderland fan, and go and check out his channel, by the way. An absolutely brilliant guy. Love watching his channel. Go and check it out. And anyway, Michael Bowers says, interesting point regarding strikers. We played majority of last season without a striker, yet finished in the top 6. Although not having a striker can have an effect, it's still no excuse to concede the goals Norwich did. Just an outsider anyway, looking forward to the podcast. Well, Michael, thanks for your question. And it is an interesting point. Sunderland did pretty well without a striker, and I think it is perfect validation for the fact that I ain't buying anyone that's saying, well, Sarge and Barnes are injured, so therefore we can't expect to get any points. Well, we can at least draw games. We can draw games. You know what? If in doubt, park the bus and just don't fucking lose. I agree with Michael.
Michael sort of, Sunderland obviously going to go 2010 Spain. I think the point I've got from that, Michael, is, football teams have to adapt and good managers adapt, and we've clearly not done that well enough this season or last season. And for those, questioning Wagner on that, I think you have a very valid point, because actually in-game management again wasn't good enough against Plymouth. I was really surprised with our substitutions against Leicester. This weird kind of thought he has that Liam Gibbs is like an attacking player has absolutely baffled me.
Quick pause though, please, right?
Yeah.
I do agree with you, but here's where I sympathise and empathise with David Wagner. What has he got on the bench? Really?
Well,
really? Like, we've got players that can play multiple positions. Why? Because they're not good enough to have an actual specified position.
Yeah.
Like, Norwich City, without injuries, have a good Championship starting 11, in my humble opinion. And we've got starting 11 that should absolutely end up in the playoffs this season without injuries. You look at our bench and you're thinking, Christ almighty.
You look at it compared to Leicester's and you go,
well,
wow,
yeah, but no, you can't. No, don't factor in Leicester. That's irrelevant. But to every other Championship side, we haven't got the bench. So that's where I would stand up for David Wagner and say, well, to be fair, he hasn't actually got a lot of quality to come off the bench, really. Certainly not the quality to actually change games enough, in my opinion. Here's what concerns me, Jack, and this is sent in from Lewis Alpha. He says, Wagner needs to go. He doesn't adapt his tactics to fit his current players. If we keep him, we'll be in and around the relegation zone by Derby Day. Try and get someone like Potter would be my ideal. I'm not sure about Graham Potter. I highly doubt that we'd be able to get him. But this is my point, Jack, about why I'm fearing next Saturday. Because if we lose, I think it's going to be the beginning of seriously toxic levels at Norwich City Football Club again.
Yeah, and
because then it's 4 in 5 losses.
And that feels remarkable that we are questioning that, because I look back to, I think the really surprising game for me this season was that first game against Hull. I expected a toxic atmosphere, particularly when we went 1-0 down in that. And actually, we had the complete opposite.
Yeah.
We had...
You cannot criticise the fans. We backed them.
We had absolute full support. And that's maintained throughout this season. So I don't think the atmosphere is going to switch that much. But, and I also don't think Wagner is in any way, shape or form going to be sacked in the next few months. I just don't see the club seeing that as a possibility. But in terms of the lack of in-game tweaks, I think there is fragility with Wagner's armoury.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Right, next question. Is that light flickering?
It did. I think it's just gone off. Just like Norwich City's chances of promotion.
The site. Well, yeah, we're struggling to put the money in the coffers. Right, come on, Jack. What's your question?
Josh Bailey. This is Adam Idah's best scoring season in his career. We're only 10 games in all competitions.
Is it really?
He's also one away from top spot in the Golden Boot race. Question: am I suddenly getting very excited about this lad? Look, I think with any striker, with any player, you need consistent game time, and Idah's getting that. And I think, and as we've touched on, he's delivering. I don't think he's a Josh Sargent, but it's all we've got. And I think based on what we've seen so far, he's a better player than Hwang. Yeah. So fair play to the lad.
Right. This is the first time in the history of Talk Norwich City that we've been sent an inspirational quote.
Wow.
Right? And that inspirational quote is from former Norwich City player Dave Phillips, right? And he's put, ready? I'll try my best. It's from Rocky Balboa, okay? Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, and it may beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. Hang on a minute. God,
keep going.
How much can you take and keep moving forward? I can't believe this is happening. I've absolutely lost my mind here. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go get it and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits. And not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you gonna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that. And that ain't you. You're better than that. Rocky Balboa.
Wow.
So look,
remarkable.
Basically, the message from that Dave Phillips is trying to say is
Chris can't do a Rocky Balboa impression.
Stop blaming. And yeah, life's a contact sport, and so is football. We're gonna get hurt, and it's how you respond to those defeats. And so far, those players haven't responded to Rotherham, Leicester, Plymouth. But I like where you're going, Dave, and I appreciate that. Do you know what? Can people send inspirational speeches more often? I enjoyed that. Thank you.
Norwich have been right hooked against Plymouth.
Yes.
And they bled out on the canvas.
Yeah.
And they didn't ever get up.
Yeah, well, I think we're in hospital, possibly paralysed.
Yeah, I mean, if that was boxing, the referee calls it at half-time because it's dangerous. Stuart Sayer. Now, this is going to really get you down because Stuart's a very intelligent and a brilliant guy. And he's coming at us with facts here.
Right.
And we know that they don't care about feelings.
Correct.
Statement.
Go on.
After 8 games, Norwich City are averaging 1.625 points per game.
Yeah.
Versus Ipswich Town's 2.625. Maintain that trajectory, and the gap between the two clubs would be 21 points by the time we rock up at Portman Road on the 16th of December. This is a very scary prospect.
What
first mention of Ipswich Town?
No, I can't. I can't escape it. What is making this current patch of defeats so much worse is that they keep winning.
Yes.
I would be lying if I was to say I'm not worried, because I am worried about that. I am talking into existence that they will fall off around winter time.
Have you got any reasons to believe why that would happen?
Well, I think they've got some really tough games. I do. I think they've got some really tough games all bunched together against some really good sides. And
what happens if they win
perhaps
those?
Injuries. The problem is they've got so much money to actually reinforce in January, and we haven't got a pot to bloody piss in. That's the problem there. So, but I don't want to talk about them.
I said it at the start of the season, and it's, to be fair, my one prediction that's actually gone right. Ipswich are a very good side this season, and I think they'll go up.
James Starling, DJam Vlogs on X says how you would both go about changing this form. New formation, personnel change, or stick with the current 11 and tell them to make amends?
I mean, if we knew that, it would be.
I've got it, Jack. Here's where I'm at with it. I've already thought about this. Okay, we've got Fulham away in the cup next. Simple as this. You start a second string team against Fulham, and you say to them, you want to be wearing this badge on Saturday against Birmingham at home? Go out there and put in a performance, and you have my word that you'll start. Genuinely, because I don't think any of those Norwich City players, apart from Adam Idah, actually deserve to keep their starting place for next Saturday. Genuinely, and I don't think any of the Norwich players can argue with that because of how bad they were. If you put in a performance against Fulham in the cup, give them a go on Saturday.
Yeah.
We do need personnel change, yes. We definitely need a system change because man for man is inviting so much space into those attacking areas, as I've said so many times. We saw against Leicester, particularly the one that absolutely blew my mind is from a goal kick. They're through on goal. That should be illegal. That should be a crime against football, Jack. And we committed it, right? So to be honest with you, James, I'd consider those first two, but I wouldn't stick with the current 11 because we've seen that they've lost against Rotherham, Leicester and Plymouth, and after you lose 6-2, I'm sorry, you're out of the team. You're out of the team.
Danny, I like this from Danny, trying to inject some positivity into our statement.
Yes, please, go on.
That was a really tough watch, but a collapse like that won't happen again this season. We needed to be humbled and taken back down to earth so we try harder.
Yeah.
We will bounce back against Birmingham and we will go on to win the league. Wagner's at the wheel. Come on, you Yellows.
It was, you know what, Danny? I was about to clap you until you said we'd win the league. But thank you for trying to put some positivity in the room.
I agree with part of that, Danny. I don't think we're going to win the league. But I agree. I just don't think that collapse happens again this season. Because I hope and I pray that now the players realise just how painful that feels, they will do everything in their power to not let that happen again. And if that does happen again, then we all have every right to get fully stuck into them.
I think they already deserve to be stuck into after the 6-2. I'm sorry, you don't. You've lost 3 and 4, and then you've embarrassed, every Norwich City fan across the planet. But you've put 1,600 plus fans through total utter torture, and they've had to pay for that total utter torture in excess of £100. Go on.
I think.
Can I just say? I'm really sorry. I said to you, Jack, before we filmed, I'm like, mate, I don't want to do this. I absolutely hate it when Norwich collapse like this. And do you know what? I'm going to be selfish for a minute, right? I hate being in this position because we get criticised for being positive. We get criticised for being negative. People say we're on the club's payroll. I'm like, fucking hell, here we go again. And I hate being negative, but they have to be criticised after that, Jack. You cannot polish a turd. And I would argue that we were diarrhea against Plymouth. I don't even think we were a turd.
Welcome back to a TNC legend.
Go on.
Willamotts.
Oh! Here he is.
Been a while.
TNC OGs will remember Willamotts.
And I like this from Willamotts.
What's his bio? Come on.
One thing is certain in life. Weeds will always outgrow grass.
That is the best
Don't we know
bio
it?
ever. Oh, God.
I like this from Willamotts because there's been so much positivity on the podcast. And he could have, popped up when the going was good. But actually, Willamotts has got stuck in when the tough has begun. And he said, hi, lads, it's been a while. Just been sorting out some bang average lawns. I think he's calling yours bang average. As for the football, hit Control Alt Delete and let's start again. More importantly, and let's sway away from football. This is a big question. More importantly, I keep getting ribbed at work for having Marmite rice cakes in my lunchbox. Ooh. Marmite, yes or no?
Well,
I mean, rice cakes, big no.
Marmite, yes.
Yes.
Oh.
I like Marmite.
Bloody hell, we agree on something.
Rice cakes? I suspect you like rice cakes.
No interest. I have to admit, Willamotts, weeds will always outgrow grass, but rice cakes, unacceptable.
You're better than that. Stick on a bagel.
Adam says, when's the next international break? I'm sick of this. Well, let me tell you. I think it's week commencing the 9th. Yeah, it's week commencing the 9th of October.
Are we really praying for an international?
Well,
are we praying for like England to play Lithuania or something? I mean, that's desperate, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but that is what a 6-2 does to you. Ollie Cockram, but can I just say that's second name of the podcast?
Yeah,
Cockram says, "I love the fact brands are limited to 3 per person."
Yeah.
Well, we had to, Ollie. By the way, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't resist there. Ollie, what a guy, and I agree. Had to keep them down to 3.
Another Ollie. Question: can we get Lakens to give NCFC fans a 90% discount for the rest of the season? It's going to be a tough few months. We can't give you 90%, but we can give you 20%, and that's pretty bloody good because it makes this. That was a seamless transition. LGR, Lakens are now brewing lager and they're canning it. And Chris will back me up here. It's bloody lovely.
It is. And I'm going to be demolishing this on Saturday night for my birthday.
So if you want some Lakens lager, and we've had loads of people order it and back us up and say it's really good.
Something else you can buy as well. Sorry,
20% off. Link in the description.
Sorry
Go
to
and get
interrupt your
it.
plug there. Another plug. As modelled by you.
Beautifully, I must say.
Johnny Rowe, Let's Have a Go t-shirts are on sale. They've been flying off the shelves, haven't they, Jack?
Yeah, and as soon as I released them, he stopped scoring goals. So that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, we might need to discontinue them. So if you do want them, hurry up. NCFC Jake says, statement. We are absolutely buggered until Christmas, January. We're too reliant on Sargent. Everyone's performances have gone downhill since Sarge got injured. Well, Jake, it's hard to disagree. And at the moment, they are not showing that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Look, I agree, and I think
because we're not adapting.
And I would agree, and I think Sargent's injury is really big. But we can't keep keep looking for excuses. Every team in this division will have injuries to their best player / best players at some point. Leeds have had it, and they're playing okay now. Leicester will have it. Ipswich will have it. They will all have it, and you have to overcome and adapt. Actually, the position Norwich are in, we've got quite a fragile squad, and that's part of our financial situation, our poor recruitment over the recent seasons. But we have to adapt and overcome. We can't have one injury and write the season off.
No, I know.
I mean, that's a terrible position to be in. So I agree. I think it will be really tough. I think if Norwich somehow manage to stick in and around the top 6 come January, that will be a huge success.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
But we have 4 strikers on the club's books. I know 2 of them are out, but 4 pretty decent championship strikers. Not many clubs have that. Not many clubs have the ability to pull in an Adam Idah.
Remember Michael Bauer's point from Sunderland? They played without a striker for the majority of last season, ended up in the top 6. It's actually about what the defence can keep clean sheets, of which I think we've only had 1 at home to Stoke, right? No, at home. At home.
At home, yeah.
I like this one from Samuel because we can almost get so depressed here we can laugh. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Samuel Austin says, "What is your worst away day memory?" Love the podcast, OTBC.
Worst away day memory. There's been a few.
You're going to say Brighton away, aren't you?
No, but that was a howler.
Okay.
Newcastle away, Sunday, 4:30.
Mbakani scored 2.
I think we lost 6-2.
Yeah, but Mbakani scored.
I went on Club Canary. It took like 8 hours. I had sixth form the next morning at like 8 a.m. That was pretty grim.
But Mbakani scored. Surely Millwall away 4-0 was worse than that.
God, I've forgotten about that.
Do you remember that?
That was bad.
What was that lad's name? What, the Franca? Marcel Franca.
James Husband.
Oh my God.
That was a dark day.
James Husband. Wow.
The reason I say Newcastle is because actually I think, it was a long while ago, I think we'd actually been okay in the Premier League up to that point, and we got pumped 6-2 by Newcastle. Yeah. And Alex Neil just suddenly retreated into his shell, and we played this horrible football for the rest of the season. That destroyed the season, that game. So I really hope the Plymouth result doesn't do the same.
What if Wagner now changes the system to just shut up shop? Maybe he should do against Plymouth.
Oh boy.
My worst away day memory is the classic Fulham away.
Yes.
And a lot of Norwich City fans will remember that. We needed a draw to stay up, and we got absolutely battered by a stadium that has a neutral area.
I'm not sure that exists anymore.
Well, it better not.
Might do.
Yeah, that was by far the most devastating away day for me as a Norwich City fan.
Right, I can't keep reading those. Let's look ahead to the rest of this week.
Most of them are. Can I just say, if you've not had your question read, I'm sorry. every single question is an angry one,
Yeah.
which sums up the mood. And therefore, Jack, going into the Fulham game and the Birmingham games, is that mood going to shift?
Yes, I think it does. I really think it does. Fulham, you will know, cup competitions are absolute priority too, specifically at this moment, but for a club like Norwich in general.
I'm not going to argue with you today.
I am going because I happen to be in London, but that's the only reason. So I'm looking forward to seeing signs. I think Hwang scores that night. I think we have a bit of fun. I think we get knocked out. Good. Birmingham.
That's shocking.
Birmingham's big. Birmingham is a game that we have to win.
Yeah.
And also, not only do we have to win, we need to see a good performance. And let's see something from these players to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah.
Prove the people wrong who have said, well, the season's over now. They earned some credit at the start of this season.
Yes.
Few of the performances earned credit. They've lost that credit now.
Yes, I agree.
So we are starting from scratch.
Yep.
Let's mentally say we're starting from scratch.
Yep.
We're starting the season again.
With you.
We now need to see a consistent run of performances and results, and that starts on Saturday. I don't think the starting 11 from Plymouth changes too much. I wouldn't have Hwang starting in there with two up front. I think we looked far too open. I'd stick another midfielder in there, but I would go with a similar 11, and I would tell them, don't embarrass yourselves again, because that was actually really, really humiliating, and let's see it. And if we lose to Birmingham, or the performance is good and we don't win, then I'll get stuck in on the podcast. But I'm giving them another week to turn it around.
I think you're too kind. I completely disagree with you, Jack. They do not deserve the right to that starting 11 after losing 6-2 to Plymouth.
So what changes?
David Wagner needs to make wholesale changes to that team.
So what changes? Because you've already said there's nothing
all
on the
over.
bench.
Going forwards, they need to mix it up.
With who?
Wang's not doing anything.
With whom? Because
the
you've said
the
there's nothing
midfield
on
went
the bench.
missing. The centre backs,
You're not
both of
answering
them,
my
not
question.
good enough. The wing backs, not good enough. You're being too kind. I'm
who do you
disappointed.
bring on?
I'm disappointed. How far have your standards slipped? Yet again.
You're not answering my question.
All sorts, mate. I'd honestly change all sorts. I think both centre backs could be dropped.
So who comes in?
I think anyone.
We don't have another centre back.
Mate, we do.
Who?
The youngsters. Oh, genuinely, mate. You cannot lose like that and keep your starting and just expect. I think you're being too kind.
We don't have any other options.
No, we do. You're being too
You
kind.
haven't named me another option.
Hey, you're being too kind to that starting 11 against Plymouth. We've already lost 3 and 4. We've been found out. We need to change our system. And I'm not saying change every player. Obviously, I'm not that stupid. I am quite stupid, but I'm not that stupid. I'm just saying we need players to complement. We need to fill out that midfield, and we need to stop the rot. Stop conceding goals. And especially at home, do not concede at home to Birmingham, please. Although I think we will. And I tell you something else that's coming. John Ruddy's going to turn into bloody Buffon.
Yeah. Birmingham have been okay this season.
Birmingham.
Look, we need to see a reaction.
Yeah, we do. This is the thing as well, right? You're like, I genuinely think this is about the players. This isn't about proving the naysayers wrong. This is about the players proving they're up to it. This isn't about the naysayers and the Norwich fans. The players need to give the good account to themselves. Yeah? We're not in fan territory anymore. We're doing our job. And I'm proud that the Norwich fans are doing their job. Those players need to prove they're good enough to be in a team that's fighting for the playoffs this season. Because at the moment, they cannot argue that they are currently not living up to that. And it's not an unfair expectation. I could go on for hours getting more and more angry, so let's not.
Let us know in the comments what your starting 11 would be. I think if Chris got his way, it'd be the under-21 side. I don't think that will happen. Are you feeling any better? I don't think you are.
I do.
think I've riled you up.
No, I have let off some steam.
Okay.
I just am so disappointed, Jack. I just feel so let down. And I didn't even go to Plymouth. Over to you, Norwich players.
Over
Please.
to you, David Vang. If I have one pray for this weekend, please don't put me through Liam Gibbs in an attacking position. I can't do that. I can do most things. I can't watch
You've
that.
got a funny thing with Liam
He's
Gibbs,
not an
haven't you?
attacking midfielder.
Okay, fair enough.
See you back here next week, and I really hope, Chris, that we're talking about a win.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.